hello.
Hello, yeah. Hold this one. Can the person at the back of the hall migrate to the front for me, please? Yeah, bro. Big thanks. Orville. Find Jono. Find Jono. Yeah, tell him to come inside the room. Find Jono, tell him to come inside the room. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start again. It is now at 10 minutes, 3:15. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. All right, sounds good. It is said that health is the greatest wealth. And this is the day that the Lord has made, and we shall rejoice in it. We have been thus far, and we are totally happy to be where we are today. Glendon Gordon is my name, a member of JMF, and we are here today to have an awesome time to find out some things that we didn't know, to find out some things that we did know, to find out how we can prevent it, how we can manage, and how we can treat it for long life. Half of my job is already done in getting persons to start the screening, which is very, very important. And if you are like me, I hate doctors and I hate to be, anything with that little needle. Can you imagine a big guy like me afraid of one little needle? Right? Every time I have to do something like this, I ask either my wife or, somebody of the opposite sex to follow me to that place. Nevertheless, it has to be done in order to check, and we should check early to prevent some of what is now befalling all of us, and it is no longer reserved for people of a certain age. It is now cutting across all age group, and we're talking about diabetes, and this is what we're here to talk about today, and to have some awesome information from a speaker who will be introduced later today. But before I go on, let me ask Leroy Dallas, to come and invoke the presence of the Most High for us today.
Let me all invite you to stand, please.
as we embark on the most important part of the deliberation here this evening, and that's inviting the Most High to be in our midst and to bless us. Let us bow our heads for prayer. Sovereign God and Father who art in heaven, we pause at this time, Lord, to acknowledge you as our God, our Savior, our King. We thank you for spirit lives and for bringing us here this afternoon so we can come together to see how we can improve our health, to live the way you want us to live, and to be worthy ambassadors of your name. So to go forth with health, quality of life, and a determination to help others to know you as Savior and Lord. We invite your presence here this afternoon, Lord, to bless every participant. Everyone who's executing and giving care, bless them that they'll do well in the process. Those who come for care, Lord, bless them too, that they will be able to get good advice. They'll be able to get good guidance, and they'll leave here better than when they came and take the message back to others so that they can become better in their lifestyle and a commitment to living worthy lives that will represent you well. Be with us, bless us again, and have your way in our lives, we pray. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you very much, Leroy. And before I move to the person who will do the formal welcome today, I want to recognize our sponsors, without whom this would not be today, would not be at all. I want to recognize Mico University for giving us the space and the accommodation and the use of their facilities for this function today. Can you give them a round of applause for that for me? And I want to welcome and recognize Guardian Life Limited. Everybody know Guardian Life Limited? One of our top insurance companies in Jamaica and the Caribbean. Guardian Life Limited. In fact, I was a former vice president of that noble and glorious institution. I get excited when I call the name Guardian Life. And I have to be careful now so that I don't spend another 15 minutes talking about Guardian Life. Are you with me? Give Guardian Life a round of applause. And one of the most important things is this, Guardian Life, and they are right at the back there. You can talk with them when you're through, because they do something that is akin to salvation. They give you products that you should carry with you when you don't need it. Because we say in our business, it's better you have it and nothing happen than for something to happen and you don't need it. And that is what is salvation. Can I say amen here? Or can I get an amen? All right. The amen sound weak though. Right? Now, that is what Guardian Life does. They have a variety of products that you take with you, just like the spare tire on your car, to make sure you have it when you need it, otherwise you may not need it again. And my mind goes back to something I was watching on the TV a couple weeks ago, where some MiG fighters were shot down over some place there that you all know what's going on now. And only to see these two guys shot up out of the airplane, you know what they came down on? Parachute. Can you imagine if they didn't have the parachute? And that is what Guardian Life will do for you today. So make sure after the registration, you stop by that table. We want to recognize also the Ministry of Health, NHF. They're here. Can you show your hands, please? All right, give them a round of applause for me. And of course, we have CariMed. CariMed, representatives from CariMed, stand up, let me see you. All right. All right, now one instruction I have for you. Those who were by the mobile unit and your screening is not complete, as soon as the presentation is done, make sure your name is on the sheet at the back of the room, and then you can move to the mobile unit. I think your sheets have numbers on them, so you would not lose your space. And those who never got to the mobile unit, you will do your registration at the back of the room, and then you move to the mobile unit, right? Because screening and knowing your numbers, for the record, is very, very important to you, because we all want to have the quality of life reserved for us and to enjoy what Leroy said, the quality of life. So moving right along, we'll invite Orville Johnson, the chairman of the Medical Foundation, to do the formal welcome for us. Can you help me welcome Orville, please?
Thank you very much, Mr. Master of Ceremonies. Good afternoon, everyone. Mr. Master of Ceremonies, Dr. Sonia Davidson, widow of the late Winston Davidson, a health professional for wearing many hats for many years, whose memory the Jamaica Medical Foundation has dedicated this series on diabetes management to. Dr. the Honorable Oliver Jones, Chairman Emeritus of the Jamaica Medical Foundation. Here is he, a man who ought to be a symbol of health and wellness for the ministry, Dr. Davidson. Look at him, 94 years young. Mr. Paul Stanford, branch manager of our main sponsors, Guardian Life, played a pivotal role in bringing our great presenter, Tony Kelly, to Jamaica. Tony will be properly introduced later. Team CariMed, the screening team for the National Health Fund, and our host, Mico University College. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen in the audience, we are so happy to have you here. Thank you all for coming. We are here today as we acknowledge that the diabetes at current levels pose a danger to the health and well-being of the people of Jamaica. The Jamaica Medical Foundation, in keeping with our commitment to provide a lifeline to health since 1988, is an outreach arm of the insurance industry and has pledged to do more than talk about the problem, but to provide tangible solutions. We have been advised that first you need to identify if you have a condition. So we have made arrangements for persons to be screened by the teams from NHF and Guardian Life. Then, to ensure that you are doing the right things to manage diabetes, we have here Mr. Tony Kelly, the UK-based diabetes advocate and ambassador with solid Jamaican roots, who will share with you the techniques that he has used for 20 years to manage his own condition. So we're not dealing with airy-fairy stuff and theory. We're dealing with the real McCoy. Of course, he's not a doctor, and he will tell you you need to ensure that you check with your health professional. Lastly, sometimes with your best efforts, you will succumb to the disease, so we suggest that you have the appropriate insurance to assist with financing the intervention. So my final word to you is take personal responsibility for your health. This is the launch of 3 events that Tony Kelly will be speaking at. We have another in Mandeville on the 14th of May at 9 o'clock at the Manchester Parish Church Hall. And the series ends on the 28th of May at the Harmony Cove Park, Montego Bay, starting early at 8 o'clock. It's a Saturday morning. And I must tell you that Tony has built quite a reputation in Jamaica, and he has been fielding a lot of calls, and he will be doing a number of sessions across the island. So we can assure the Ministry of Health that we will do a great job in building the awareness, and more important, so that persons have tangible things to work with. I just want to crave Chairman's privilege to recognize the audience Dr. Morrison. Dr. Morrison is Mr. Diabetes International, and I just want you to stand and be recognized. He has been the man who has really been a pioneer in the field internationally, you know, and we just want to tell him thank you for all that he has done. He can't help it. He went to a great school that Oliver Jones and myself went to. I won't do a quiz so we know what it is, and I don't want to offend anybody we are honoring today. So, you know how you go, right? The JMF thanks you for coming so that you can help yourself. We're talking about personal responsibility. We celebrate the legacy of Dr. Winter Davidson, who was passionate about public health education in this way. So in the interest and to honor that legacy, you too must take responsibility and get the job done. Thank you very much for coming, and thanks for your support. And get screened today. Mr. Chairman, back to you. The MC has asked me to take charge of this part of the program. As we indicated, this series is dedicated to honor the legacy of Dr. Winston Winty Davidson, as he was affectionately called, who was passionate about public health education. So we want to make a presentation to his widow, Dr. Sonia Davidson, who is here, and his daughter is also here, Dr. Tamu Davidson, and daughter-in-law. The whole family is here, and granddaughter. And I hear that there are those online watching the stream. So we just want to acknowledge the job he has done. So I'm going to ask Mr. Oliver Jones, the Honorable Oliver Jones. You have a token there, Mr. Jones. I want you to present it to. Yes, you're going to present it to her. Oliver Jones, 94 years old. Miss Dr. Davidson, Dr. Sonia wants the family around. No, understand. Family, Davidson family, you want to gather around? Yes, this is a family affair, you know. You're setting up a dynasty. Then on the mic. Glendon. Mike.
Okay. The Jamaica Medical Foundation, in tribute to Dr. Winston Winty Davidson, CD, the Jamaica Medical Foundation expressed profound gratitude for Dr. Davidson's sacrifice, contributions, and enduring service. The series in diabetes management is dedicated to his memory, honoring his unwavering commitment to public health education, 2026. I must confess and tell you that I just had an operation on my eyes. The only operation I've had in 94 years. The only operation. So it was giving me a little difficulty, but I believe I managed nevertheless.
Thank you so much. So much. Appreciate your acknowledgement of him. As I said, I am taking a little time to adapt to the term widow, but I really appreciate the fact that so many people, especially his patients, tell me how much he has done to change their lives, as well as other people who just have met him casually and know that not only has he tried to educate them about diabetes, but also to allow them to know that diabetes is not just a physical condition, but it affects you mentally and in many ways spiritually. And he did his best for people to understand that. So I'm very grateful when other people recognize it as well, especially someone who he admired so much, this fantastic gentleman who can read without glasses. Wow, God bless you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Well, I must just add and tell you that as former chairman of JMF, Winty spent many, many years with us, and he did a remarkable job, and for that we are forever grateful. Blessings to him. Blessings.
And also to Professor Morrison. Professor Morrison, thank you for being here, for your friend, man.
Well, you know, every time we speak, you have something else to say. I mentioned a little earlier about Professor Morrison. Not only is he a great man, but a great Excelsiorian. And reports have it that he's the brightest boy that ever went to Excelsior.
Yeah, that's a fact. I heard that too.
Give it up, ladies and gentlemen.
NHF is here?
Yeah. All right, give it up one more time, ladies and gentlemen. Because when I hear the number 94, boy, that is good. Blessings, Sir Oliver. All right, I gather NHF is here, and they will be doing screening also. They are at the middle of the back there, so when you are through, those who came in after we started can also do the screening through them. All right, moving right along, we have somebody else from our main sponsor who will come and bring greetings. This is one of my protege, I call him, none other than Paul Stanford. Paul, can you make it here?
Good afternoon. Distinguished guests, members of the Jamaica Medical Foundation, members of the medical fraternity, our host, Mr. Tony Kelly, partners and fellow Jamaicans. I'm pleased to be here with you this afternoon representing my awesome company, Guardian Life Limited, as we support this important lecture series focused on one of the most pressing health challenges facing our country, diabetes. The reality is stark. In Jamaica today, approximately 1 in every 8 adults is living with diabetes, representing over 230,000 people. Even more concerning is that many Jamaicans are unaware they have this condition, delaying diagnosis and treatment. This is not just numbers, it's not just stats. It is a national issue. Diabetes remains one of the leading causes of death in Jamaica, and its complications including heart disease, kidney failure, amputations, continues to affect families, productivity, quality of life across communities. But there is also hope, my friends. The Ministry of Health and Wellness continues to emphasize prevention, early detection, and lifestyle changes through initiatives such as Jamaica Moves and Know Your Numbers. These efforts reinforce the important truth: diabetes is largely preventable and manageable with the right knowledge and habits. That is why this afternoon's focus on managing diabetes is so timely and so powerful. At Guardian Life, we believe health is not only about treatment, it is about empowerment. It is about giving people the knowledge, tools, and support to take control of their lives before illness takes control of them. This belief is reflected in how we design our health solutions. Our health insurance plans are structured to support individuals living with chronic conditions like diabetes, not only when complications arise, but through the journey. From access to routine care and diagnosis and diagnostic testing to the hospitalization and ongoing disease management. We aim to reduce financial burden so that persons can focus on living your beautiful lives. Beyond insurance, we recognize that real impact happens in communities through education, awareness, and behavior change. That is why partnerships like this one with Jamaica Medical Foundation are so important, because knowledge changes outcomes. When people understand how nutrition, physical activity, stress management, and regular screening influence their health, we begin to shift the trajectory, not just for individuals, but for generations. And let us be clear, this is not only a health issue, it is also an economic issue, a workforce issue, a family issue. Every preventative diagnosis, every controlled blood sugar level, every positive lifestyle change contributes to a stronger, healthier Jamaica. So this afternoon, as we listen to Mr. Tony Kelly and engage in these discussions, I encourage all of us to reflect on our personal role. Whether you are a healthcare provider, a policymaker, an employer, a parent, or simply an individual, we all have a part to play in reversing the diabetes challenge in our country. At Guardian Life, we remain committed to being part of the solution, supporting healthier lives, protecting futures, and partnering for progress. On behalf of our organization, I commend the Jamaica Medical Foundation for this initiative and thank you for allowing us to stand with you in this mission. Let us continue to educate, to empower, and most importantly, to act. I thank you. God bless you.
All right, thank you very much, Paul. Guys, take that instruction very carefully. It's not only a health situation, but it's an economic one, and you have to be prepared. It's better to be prepared and nothing happens than something happens and you're not prepared. Okay, moving right along, we have greetings from Dr. Tamu Davidson, head of the Non-Communicable Disease Unit of the Ministry of Health. Please welcome her.
Oops. Good afternoon, everyone. I am going to say protocols observed, but I would like to just acknowledge our Master of Ceremonies, distinguished guests, executives of the Jamaica Medical Foundation, healthcare professionals. I also have a team member here with me, Dr. Camelia Bryan. And I also want to recognize Professor Morrison, of course, who we have been working with for many, many years. It is certainly an honor to address you today on behalf of the Ministry of Health and Wellness in my capacity as the Director of NCDs and Injuries Prevention. Also, I'd like to thank the organizers and acknowledge the honor they have bestowed on my father, Professor Winston Davidson. Certainly, I hope to even measure up to his footsteps. So, we're really, it's a double pleasure for me to be here today. So, what I want to highlight is that first, I just want to commend the Jamaica Medical Foundation for putting on this event. And I think they deserve a Louise Bennett applause. And she would say that is thank you, and pian. Isn't that so? So we can do better than that. This is a fantastic series called Diabetes Management Series. And I want to acknowledge the guest presenter, Tony Kelly, for really, with his passion to come all the way here, even though he is from the soil, the land, Jamaica. He is really going to be going all over the island to share this public health message. This aligns perfectly with Ministries of Health message promoting health and wellness, and it's aligned with our focus, our vision for 2030 to really provide people-centered care, proactive care that's responsible and responsive to our community's needs. So, ladies and gentlemen, we simply cannot speak about health in our country without confronting the realities of non-communicable diseases. And you would have heard much about the statistics in terms of diabetes and its impact and prevalence and burden here in Jamaica. We know if we look at diabetes and put hypertension and obesity, which are all interlinked, we would have over 1 million Jamaicans that are impacted from these conditions. When we look at our data, we know that at least 95,000 persons with diabetes, in fact, have one or more complication of this disease. Today, nearly 1 in 4 Jamaican adults are living with obesity, and childhood obesity remains a growing crisis. This is an exceptionally high rate of obesity and is a primary driver of the epidemic that we're facing with diabetes. And I'd love to really frame it and say that we're really facing a national crisis and chronic emergency called diabetes. Diabetes is the #1 killer for both men, for women, and for men the second, but overall it remains the #1 cause of death in Jamaicans. Our concern is that more and more younger persons are impacted. And so the Ministry of Health is working to tackle what we call this obesogenic environment, which is also at the root of fueling this particular epidemic. We recognize that we must protect our population, and we're starting with our youth. And recently, we would have passed the National School Nutrition Policy last year and are on the road to implementing this policy in this fight. And this is by regulating the food environment in our school settings, in our institutions. We're also dismantling this obesogenic environment through this policy. Furthermore, you have seen that the government recently implemented a targeted tax on sweetened beverages by linking this tax directly to the amount of added sugar in these drinks. So we are taking a bold, evidence-based stance. This is not just a revenue measure, but it is a vital public health intervention designed to reduce excessive sugar consumption, driving better, healthier consumption habits, and incentivizing manufacturers to deliver and create better products. And so this is another one of our interventions that goes beyond just the health sector. And so NHF, since its inception, has been a critical aspect of our response, ensuring that persons have equitable access to medicines and to other benefits provided under NHF to manage their condition if they're diagnosed with diabetes. And along with that, we continue to monitor, to provide standards, to guide our care, and to promote screening, both in a community setting, school setting, and also in the workplace. But government, as earlier heard, cannot fight this battle alone. And so it was without any hesitation that we agreed to be here today supporting this event. Effective diabetes prevention and management require what we call a whole-of-society approach. Every single person in this room and beyond this room, any sector, organization, public, private, wherever you are part of the solution and the approach. And it's together, working together, that we can tackle this epidemic. So this is why this series is quite timely. It is diabetes management series, raising public awareness about diabetes. This will help persons to commit to knowing your numbers, so identifying whether you do have diabetes or not, prioritizing their own healthy eating, staying active. It will also bring together experts that can really share some practical knowledge. So I'm looking forward to that. So this organization is really providing you with medicine's most powerful tool, providing you with the information for you to transform your life. So when individuals are empowered with information, they can internalize this, to utilize this, to translate that to skills and to action, and become the best advocates for their own health. I met Mr. Kelly, and he didn't just say he's doing diabetes. He says he's an activist, and so that was very interesting for me. So over the course of this series, I am going to urge each and every one of you to ask these questions and just absorb the expertise that's going to be shared here today. But I want to leave you with a direct call to action today. Do not let this vital information stay within the confines of this room today, or this event, or even just this one-off event. I'm going to challenge each and every one of you here today to take one concrete step this week. Schedule a test, a screening, to know your numbers. And in the Ministry of Health, we talk about knowing your blood sugar, knowing your body mass index, knowing your cholesterol, knowing your blood pressure. I want to challenge you to take that step. Know your status if you haven't done your tests for cancer, for any of your screening tests that you need to do, or if you just haven't visited your doctor to get your regular check. And I want you to actively choose to become more active. So if you're already active, how can I be more active, physically active? And I also want you to choose as well to look at your own mental health and well-being. So the knowledge you learn here today, share it. I'm going to challenge every one of you to share it with a family member, a friend, because the change starts here. It starts amongst all of us here. We have a responsibility to make this change. And so again, congratulations to the Jamaica Medical Foundation. The ministry stands firmly with you as a partner. Let us take action together to continue to build a healthier Jamaica. I wish you highly successful and transformative series. Thank you.
Give it up one more time for Dr. Tamo. Boy, she said some things there that frightened me a little bit, Orville. 1 in 4? Oh my. Information is power. And she said, make sure you share this information when you leave. And I see some people younger than I am over the left-hand side here, my left, your right. I hope you're taking copious notes. Are you with me? Very, very important for you young people, right? I see it on your faces, you look much younger than I am. So moving right along, ladies and gentlemen, we're coming up to the meat of the evening, and we're going to be having Orville. You know name Orville, you know Franklin Johnson, who will give an introduction of the main speaker this afternoon.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Welcome to everyone. Thanks for coming. All protocols observed. I remember my grandmother used to say to me, we are not in any pian business. So when you listen to Dr. Tamu and all the others before who have spoken, you realize we are in a serious business. We have about 2.8 million adults in Jamaica, and approximately 300,000 have already been diagnosed with diabetes. All right? Now, when Orville mentioned to me the objectives of this lecture session, and he was contemplating who he was going to select to do it, I said to him, don't worry. I have a batchmate, Miconian batchmate, who now resides in UK. He's a man of the soil. His early education began in Jamaica. He studied here at the Mico as a teacher. He has been experiencing diabetes for the past 20 years. And he has decided that he was going to do certain things with reference to personal management of diabetes. He has done his own research, and he decides to do whatever he is going to do in collaboration with his medical team. Tony is a very serious and articulate individual with reference to his work in diabetes. He decides he is going to do his presentation the teacher's way. And you'll understand that teachers have a methodology to do things. It is easier absorbed, understood by all. He has been doing his work, his advocacy work, not only in Jamaica, in various parts of the Caribbean, the UK, and other parts of the world. He is a well sought after presenter in this area of diabetes. At this minute, I would like you to stand and join me in welcoming to the lectern Mr. Anthony Tony Kelly.
Thank you for that warm welcome. Please sit. I'm going to take you on a journey. All protocols observed. I'd just like to mention two people before I start the presentation. And one is my batchmate, Franklin Johnson. We were at Mico together, 1974 to 1976, before we did internship. And it's from little acorns, oak trees grow. He was the one who suggested to Orville Johnson, who is the top one in the medical foundation, to invite me here. This is my third visit to Jamaica to do these events. The other two, they were self-sponsored. 2022, I did a lot of parishes, and 2024. I should have come October, November 2025, but Melissa, that damn thing Melissa put paid to that. But you have me here in the month of May, which happens to be mango season. I'm going to talk about that later, okay? So let's start. So I'm going to take you on a journey for this diabetes awareness presentation. And what's happening here now? It's supposed to move forward. Gremlins in the work already. The devil is strong, but the Lord is stronger. Is that all right? Are we ready now? Right. So as I said, my name is Tony Kelly, and I'm going to start by seeing who knows. That is a QR code. If you take a photo of it, of the QR code, it will tell you all about me. By the way, I'm from a teaching background. When I'm up here talking, everybody has to be quiet. That's from my teaching days back at Mico. And I maintain that. No matter how old you are, you still have to maintain a sense of discipline and be respectful of the person up here speaking, please. Okay? So, who can tell me what is a QR code? We use that word a lot. What does a QR code mean? I have lots of prizes to give out here. I'll take them back to England with me if you don't answer. Okay, I'm going to tell you. And that's the whole purpose why I start with that. Acronyms. We use a lot of acronyms, and it goes and flies above the head of the people we're trying to communicate with. You're now going to learn that a QR code means quick response. So go home and ask your uncle or your granny or your child, what does QR mean? It means quick response. Okay, moving swiftly on. The only thing I'm going to bring out on this particular slide is the mobile phone. I'm asking you please to switch it off or keep it on silence, because you might want to take some images of the photographs and so on that I'm going to show. The other things I don't need to highlight. But please, if I had £1 for every time a mobile phone went off for the last 14 years of doing these events, I would be a millionaire by now. Our health is our wealth. That's self-explanatory. Our health is our wealth, okay? Believe it or not, that is me as a cheeky little boy born in Carshalton, St. Helier Hospital in Carshalton, Surrey. And my parents at an early age sent me off to the land of their birth, Jamaica, a little district called Whitehall in the parish of St. Thomas. You can tell this is not Jamaica. May have on a cardigan, a sweater, or a jumper. So this is cold England before I came on the Ascania ship to the land of my parents' birth. Moving swiftly on. I must start by saying I am not a health care professional. So I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a diabetic nurse. I am a patient with my lived experience of this medical condition for the last 21 years. And fortunate enough to have never taken medication in the 21 years. By now, that deserves a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. And I'm going to take you on a journey as to why I have managed to be medicine-free for so long. Not everybody will be in that position. Please bear that in mind. But I've been one of the fortunate ones. As a child growing up age 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in Jamaica, I saw relatives and people in the district of Whitehall starting from the top. Strokes, completely blind, heart attacks, kidney failure, so they had to leave the St. Thomas country areas to go onto the dialysis machine in Kingston. Some had lower limb amputations, chopping off of toes and feet, and some of my relatives and friends in Whitehall, St. Thomas, died prematurely. Let me see if I'm amongst a Caribbean audience. Gone to... this is going to be very interactive, you know. Gone too soon, right? Because sometimes when I do that event in England, people say, gone too quickly. Me say, you know, come from the Caribbean. We don't say gone too quickly in the Caribbean. We say gone too soon. And I would ask my relatives, what is the matter with them? All they would tell me as a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-year-old child, is that they have a touch of sugar. So they minimized, they trivialized, and they downplayed the serious medical condition by referring to it as a touch of sugar. By the time you leave here today, you're going to realize that diabetes is more than a touch of sugar. Are you with me? Now, so far, and some of you up here have called it a medical condition, and some of you have called it a disease. When I was trained by Diabetes UK 14 years ago, they specifically told me, Tony, do not go into black communities and tell them they have a non-communicable disease, an acute disease, and a chronic disease, or an autoimmune disease. It is that's a labeling theory. It is far better to say that they have a medical condition. So I will constantly use the word medical condition. I know some of you have been trained to say disease, but that's a matter for you. But Diabetes UK, the well-known charity in Britain, said to me, make sure you refer to it as a medical condition. So that's what I do. So, as I said, I've been trained I was back in England because the government decided the teaching system in Jamaica was not as good as in England. I beg to differ. I think the teaching system in the Caribbean is far superior than in Britain. I have to throw that in. You agree with me? Right. So I then couldn't go back into teaching. My wife, who trained as a teacher here, she went back and did the 4-year degree course. I wasn't prepared to give any government in Britain the satisfaction of doing that. So I went into the probation service, became a probation officer and a senior probation officer, and did my master's degree at the Birmingham University. Over that period of time, I went for 14 years without a day off sick. 14 years. And my boss said to me, I want you to go to Wolverhampton, which at the time was the diabetes capital of Europe, of Britain, and talk to them about how you manage and control your type 2 diabetes. I spoke for 10 minutes without any notes, and somebody said from Diabetes UK, come over to Macedonia and help us. You've got the gift of the gab. You can chat, you articulate, you're eloquent. And I have not looked back in 14 years. I knock on gurdwaras, mosques, churches, temples, residential homes, office blocks, and with all of these different colored t-shirts and the hoodies to match, 30,000 feet in the air in an aeroplane, on the train to London, and then I have the cards with me, and somebody will say, excuse me, you work for Diabetes UK? And I say, yes. I can't take that banner with me everywhere, but I do have the cards, and then I just hand them out to people. There you are, sir. That's one of my cards, which has all my information on. So I've been doing this for 14 years. And what happened was 21 years ago, my wife noticed the 4 key symptoms that I might have type 2 diabetes. In my case, it runs in my family, so it's hereditary. T for tired, T for toilet, T for thirsty, and T for thinner. Tired, toilet, thirsty, thinner. I was displaying all of those 21 years ago, getting up in the night 3, 4, up to 5 times to go and use the toilet. Now, this is a man thing. My wife kept saying, something is wrong with you. Most men are in denial. They bury their head in the sand like the ostrich, hoping the problem will go away. Ladies and gentlemen, yes or no, does the problem go away? No. Women, at the first sign of a twitch, an ache, or a pain, make a beeline to go and see their GP. That is fact. Men go to the rumba, they go and play cricket, they go and play football, they go and watch the television, they play domino. Men, on the whole, are not in touch with their feelings and emotions. I was one of those men. I could take the nagging. She's heard me speak on radio, television, all over the place. No more. I went early one morning with a vial of urine before breakfast to the GP, and she put the dipstick in and she held it up to the light and she says, there is blood glucose or blood sugar, the same thing, in your urine, and there shouldn't be any. So I think you have type 2 diabetes. But for a definitive answer, I'm going to send off to the lab a sample of your blood from your arm. And it came back as an early Christmas present 21 years ago that I have type 2 diabetes. Now, you'll soon find out the difference between type 1 and type 2. I decided there and then, having seen the suffering of people back in Whitehall, St. Thomas, which I alluded to earlier, I am going to make the behavioral or lifestyle changes in order to keep the complications at bay. So I, instead of eating 6, 7, 8 tablespoons of rice and peas, which me love, the portion of rice you should have on your dinner plate, believe it or not, should fit in the palm of your hand. And some of you are going to say, Lord Tony, that can't get me eye teeth. But I am telling you, the more rice you eat, it's a carbohydrate or starchy food, it will break down into your body into blood glucose or blood sugar. Because some people seem to think diabetes is only about the syrup and the condensed milk and the ice cream and the soda and so on. All carbohydrates you eat break down into your body into blood glucose or blood sugar. Have you heard that loud and clear? Yes, you need to remember that. So the hard dough bread and the rice and the patty and the cocoa bread and the yam and the potato. I'm not talking sweet potato, by the way. I'm talking the Irish potato. I'll talk about the sweet potato in the book in a bit. But you need to be mindful of your carbohydrate consumption. Yes, you do need carbohydrates, starchy food for energy, but less is more. Moderation in all things. So, since retirement as a senior probation officer, I have been going about my business trying to educate and make people more aware about type 2 diabetes, which impacts and affects black people far more, and you'll see a slide in a minute, than white people. Moving swiftly on, I talk about the National Health Service. Some of you might remember a little history lesson. The Second World War was 1939 and it ended in 1945 when Hitler bombed parts of England, the Germans and Hitler. After 1945, at the end of the Second World War, 1948, the Windrush ship made its first voyage to Tilbury Dock in London. 1948 was also the year that the National Health Service was formed. Two important events. So, some of you might remember on the lamppost and at the post office and at the rum bar, your country needs you. They wanted people from Africa and Asia and the Commonwealth to come and rebuild England. And some of you, your fathers and forefathers and mothers and so on, went as street cleaners, went as conductors, went as bus drivers, went as all sorts of things to rebuild the so-called mother country. And who went? My aunt from Bath, St. Thomas, Jamaica, went in 1952 to train as a SRN, which stands for State Registered Nurse, followed by my mother, the only black person in that picture, went the following year to join her as a State Registered Nurse trainee. Another sister went in 1956 to train as a State Registered Nurse. So I call them the 3 degrees. You remember that pop group? 3 black women. So, and I'll just give you one experience of my mother, because she always used to tell me how some of the white patients would say to her when she's trying to attend to them, caring for them in the hospital, "Take your black hands off me." That was her experience. But she didn't just give up. She still continued to care for them because that was what it was about, like Mary Seacole and Florence Nightingale. Moving swiftly on. Cooking. We're going to come on to diabetes. As a child growing up in Whitehall, St. Thomas, every time I, as a boy, and my other cousins as boy picnic, would make a beeline to the kitchen, my grand aunt, who was a teacher, and my grandmother and my grand uncle would tell me in pure Jamaican language, "Go take your book." Meaning, boys are supposed to be taking their books. That was a gender divide at the time. And girls must be doing the home economics and the cooking and the sewing and the baking. I am saying to you, the assembled audience here, there should be no gender divide. The boys need to learn to sew and cook and bake, and the girls need to be able to change the car tire if it puncture, and to change the electric wiring on the thing. Both should do both. Are you with me on that? So, can't cook, won't cook. I used to come home, sit down, while my wife and daughter would be preparing the meals, and I'm sitting down here watching the television. I had the best Christmas present ever in 2008, my daughter gave me 15 Caribbean cookery classes at Boldmere in Sutton Coldfield. There is a proof. Tony Kelly in his pinafore or his apron, learning to cook Caribbean food. And I'm saying to you, I'm giving you a message loud down here. Get your boy picnic them and demand them into the house to learn to cook, so they know how much sugar, how much salt, how much oil they're putting in the food. More than every day they're going to the fast food, the takeaway, the junk food. Are you with me? Because I'll tell you straight away, from I born to this day, in our house, Saturday is Saturday soup to this day. I'm not going to mention the name of a particular type of chicken, but I don't know what I'm talking about. I come over here and I see the long line from yesterday out of Maresca Road. And I say, what are these people lining up for? Oh, they're going to get there 10 o'clock in the morning? and on a Saturday, and on a Sunday. No. Those of you, and there are people in here who do that. You've got to stop it. As far as I'm concerned, it is junk food. And there's several other junk foods around. This is me. I just speak as I find. You must go and teach your children. And if you as an adult don't know how to cook soup, go learn to cook soup. It's the most nutritious thing. Saturday is Saturday soup. I would expect you to be applauding that. So, moving swiftly on, I have learned to cook, and some of the best chefs, when you see them on television, what gender are they, ladies and gentlemen? They're men. They're men. So this business of can't cook, won't cook. Oh, and if I start being in the kitchen cooking, they're going to say this, but me. Stop the foolishness and go learn to cook. And then what you also need to do, which I say in my events in Britain, is what you must do is, on the weekend, when you're less tired, prepare 3 or 4 of your favorite dishes, bung them in the fridge or freezer, so on the way home, when you smell the Chinese takeaway or the kebab or the pizza or the chicken, this or that, you know you have things that you can warm up when you get home. Wholesome prepared food that you have done. Are you with me on that? Right, so you need to make a start. We're not going to leave here and you go back. Some of you who have those old habits die hard, you're going to move on to doing things better, so that if you have the medical condition, or if you're pre-diabetes borderline, or if you don't have it, you start eating more healthily. Okay? Moving swiftly on. Hard to reach communities. In Britain, it is a term used quite a lot by the academics and the consultants. At the end of their talk, I raise my hand and I say, excuse me, could you tell me who are you referring to as the hard to reach communities? Look it up. They are referring to the Africans, the Caribbeans, the South Asians, and the white working class. I have a ready-made answer for them. Are these people the hard to reach people? Are they on Mars? Are they on Jupiter? Are they in the rainforest? Are they in the jungle? Are they in the deep blue sea? If they're at any of those places or any other celestial bodies that I've just mentioned, they would be hard to reach. Don't be patronizing and condescending, and could be deemed to be racist by referring to black people as hard to reach. Are you with me? As a matter of fact, I think that some of the consultants and the academics, they're locked up in the ivory tower, and them are the ones who are hard to reach, not us, okay? So that's my take on it. I am Marmite. Some people love me to bits, and some people can't stand me at all. You have to decide which one you love or hate, okay? Instead of saying hard to reach, I would rather you said, take a picture if you want, historically neglected, historically ignored, marginalized, underserved, underrepresented. That's them referring to us as black people. Don't call us hard to reach. We're not hard to reach at all. Not accepting that. And if Muhammad can't go to the mountain must go where? To Muhammad, okay? And I will go to places where there are people with sight and hearing issues, people who have learning disabilities, people who are autistic. They are still human beings. People who are ADHD, they still need to be told about how to eat healthily, how to do physical activity, etc. And I go to white working class communities as well. If in doubt is one of my sayings, and prevention is better than cure. You won't find me at medical centers, hospitals or clinics, because the people at medical centers, hospitals and clinics are there for a reason. So I'll go to the rum bar, I'll go to where they're playing the domino, I'll go to where they're doing the nails, I'll go to the barber shop. Listen people, I'm not saying I'm Jesus, but when Jesus was on earth, he went onto the beaches, he went into the agora, he went into the marketplace to find fishers of men and women. That is my approach. I go to where I know the black people are. Community engagement, and that's the message I'm giving out here to the community engagement people here, part of the medical foundation and the hospital people and so on. You need to go into communities and engage with people about their health. That is why an event like this is so important, so to get the message out there. Are you with me? Okay? Moving swiftly on, I sit on these top boards, and sometimes me are the one diggy black man on it, giving the message out there. And then they tick the box to say they've got diversity. And I say, you think I'm just going to be here ticking the box for diversity? I am here to speak on behalf of the African, Caribbean, Asian people. So me open my mouth. When I was growing up, I was a shy little boy. And my grandmother said, he's a bright little boy. Open your mouth and talk. Me not stop talk. Okay? Let me engage with you. I have lots of goodies in here at each of the events that I go to. There are 10 top countries in the world where diabetes is rampant. Shout out any that you think might be in the top 10. Me know more expecting Jamaica to come. England. Did somebody over here say America? You said America? Yes. Okay. Canada. Try again. China. Who said China? Okay, I'm giving you I bought a lot of these. I don't want to see the children on the Game Boy and the mobile phone and the Kindle and Son skipping ropes, go back to playing jacks and hopscotch and making them go outside and skip. Are you with me? Right. So you're going to use, I bought this out of my own money. It's made of good material and it tells you when you do the skipping how many revolutions you've had. There you go. Congratulations. Indonesia. Right, I'm stopping there and I'm now going to show you, while I have a sip of water, the top 10 countries in the world where diabetes is rampant. 1 minute to feast your eyes. Take a picture if you want. Where's my water? Where's my water? No, those are not them. Huh? No, these are for something I've got to do. Could somebody get a water for me, please? All right, yeah. Okay, let's focus again. There are 10 top countries in the world where diabetes is rampant. Of the top 10, there are 5 Asian countries. I'm going to go through them with you. China, India, Pakistan, Indonesia, and Bangladesh. Now, first of all, let me start with Jamaica. I have been doing these events for 14 years, and I have never done an event where somebody not shout out Jamaica. At under 3 million people live on the island of Jamaica. Look at the country in 10th place. Come on, how many people are there with diabetes? 8.4. So Jamaica not there nowhere near. However, Jamaica has a major diabetes problem. I've been to Dominica, I've been to Montserrat, I've been to Barbados. This is my 3rd trip to Jamaica. There is a major diabetes problem in this country. When I was growing up in the 60s, 70s in Jamaica, it's only old people had diabetes. No child had diabetes unless they had type 1, okay? Now, the children aged 13, 14, 15, 16, not doing any physical activity, what you like to call exercise. I don't use that word because it conjures up images you want the person to go to the gym, and also eating very unhealthily. A lot of young children are now developing type 2 diabetes, and they need to do something about it. And we are in a position, especially the future teachers, when they go out into the classroom, they need to make sure that the children are eating healthily. And you need to set the example as well by eating healthily. None of this junk food. Are you with me? Right, okay. So, those are the top 10. Now, some people said to me, Tony, China in the top 10, I have never seen a fat Chinese man or fat Chinese woman. And I said to them, listen here, if you have this notion or this myth that it is only fat, overweight, mildly obese or morbidly obese people who can develop this medical condition, as of today, you're going to get that outside of here. People who are slim, people who are skinny, let me go real Jamaican, people who are mager can also develop type 2 diabetes. So if you have a friend and they come up to you or she and they say they have diabetes, type 2, and they're slim, you say, no, only fat people get that. You are wrong. People who are skinny can also develop this medical condition. So, but yes, 5 Asian countries are in the top 10. And it's relative because remember, in China has a population, by the way, of 2 billion people. Remember that. So although they have 116 million, you have to take it in relative terms. Every ethnic group can get it. Worldwide, in 2021, it is estimated that 537 million people had diabetes in 2021, okay? Then, By 2030, which is not that far away, it is going to go up to 643 million. And by 2045, it is estimated to climb to 783. Now, some people will shout out to me, Tony, that is far away. Let me get and understand why it's not far away. Ladies and gentlemen, what year are we in? Come on. 2020. You remember the millennium 1999 to 2000? And here we are 26 years into a new millennium. So I'm not buying that argument which I hear sometimes, oh, that is far away. 2030 ain't that far, and 2045 is not that far. At the bottom, in case you can't read it, says globally, and I always put this down, diabetes is responsible for one death every 8 seconds. Every 8 seconds in the world, somebody dies from diabetes complications. Make that sink in. Usain Bolt, who has the world record for our own Jamaican Usain Bolt, for the 100 meters, 9.58. Before he reached 9.58, another every 8 seconds somebody has died. And that figure, by the way, is rising. So by the next time I come back here, it won't be every 8 seconds. It might be every 6 or every 7 seconds. It is gradually going up and up and up. Moving swiftly on, at the bottom it goes on to say, in 2021, and I'm going to tell you why we chose that year. In 2021, 6.7 million people aged between 20 and 79 died from diabetes-related causes in 2021. That's the year when COVID was at its height, 2020, 2021. More people die yearly from diabetes than what died during the COVID pandemic. Trust me on that. If you want to go and look it up, please do. Okay? Moving swiftly on, we're going to come to Britain, because I'm based in Britain, in the United Kingdom. 5 million people out of 70 million in Britain have the medical condition diabetes. Okay? 5 million. We reckon that there's about 1 in 15 people, or 1 million, walking around with this medical condition, and they don't know they have it because they have not been tested. And I'm going to say to you in here, as I said to the people in England with the National Health Service, want it, can't get it, and get it, no want it. There are people in England who do not keep their health check appointments. They make them, and they have over 1 million missed appointments in the NHS. Over here, I know a lot of you have to pay to go and see your GP or go wherever. I am urging you, please, and I'm going to stop from diabetes for a moment and mention something. I do it every time. Men. 1 in 4 black men will get prostate cancer. It's not me saying it. It's the Prostate Cancer UK saying it. 1 in 4. While in England, or Britain, it's 1 in 8 white men. Now, before I go back to diabetes, it might be prostate cancer. It might be an enlarged prostate, or it might be prostatitis, which is a urinary tract infection. When your men are in that situation, what we call in Jamaica stoppage of water, you need to get your men folk kicking and screaming to go and get their checks done, because prostate cancer is one of the easiest cancers to cure if caught early. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? If caught early, and I go on from that. Right, moving swiftly on. So in 1998, the figures for diabetes in Britain was 1.4. In 2018, it went up to 3.8, and here we are now at 5 million and rising, with about 1 million not known. 90% of people with diabetes have type 2. Please remember that. 90% of people with diabetes have type 2. 8%, only 8% have type 1, and 2% have rarer types of diabetes, which I am not able to talk about because I'm not medically qualified. I am going to focus on the 90% of people who have type 2. Now, another prize is coming up. Who can name me any of the reasons? There are these are the wards in Britain. In the more impoverished areas, diabetes is rampant. So some of you might have been to England. Handsworth, Brixton, Lozells, Newtown, Nechells, Sparkill, Sparkbrook. Why? I'm looking for a particular answer. There's several. But why is diabetes more prevalent in those areas I just mentioned? Come on. Who said food? On the food, open your mouth and talk quickly if you don't want the prize. Food. The people in those areas gravitate towards the fast food, takeaway, or junk food. They don't go home and cook. That is why most people in those areas have type 2 diabetes, because of their poor eating habits. It will be the same situation here in Jamaica. Are you with me? You need to prepare your own meal so you know how much salt you're putting in it, how much oil, how much sugar. Am I making sense? Right. And as I said, get the boy pick to them, start them at the basics and learn to cook. It is never too late for a shower of rain. Okay. I did that in one country and not a soul knew about shower of rain. And a Caribbean country. Me said, well, okay, moving swiftly on. Diabetes is serious. It affects every part of the body. You notice I said every part of the body. And then I bring to your attention, every week in Britain, there are 500 gone too soon or premature deaths from diabetes. Every week in Britain, there are 284 every week lower limb amputations. Who can name me the hospital, which happens to be in Birmingham, where more amputations take place than any other hospital in the country? No takers? No guesses? Have none of you been to England? Well, I'll put it back then. Yeah. The hospital in Birmingham, which has more lower limb amputations because of foot ulcers and sores, happens to be East Birmingham or the Heartlands Hospital. My aunt, who I grew up with, she had 3 of her toes cut off because of ulcers and sores from diabetes. Slow healing of cuts and wounds. And I'm going to beg you people, you see the lovely beaches you have over here, and even on the plush carpet at your home or your liner or your tile, I am begging you, do not walk around barefoot. You must not walk around barefoot. The maca, the thorn, the prickle, the rusty nail, or the thumbtack will go into your foot, and it will stay in there and fester, and you will end up having your lower limbs amputated. Have I made that quite clear? You must wear, and I'm not talking you wearing little flip-flops and so on. My daughter invested in these for me. I have about 8 or 9 pairs of them. They're called Birkenstock. You don't have to get Birkenstock. These are very expensive. You buy one, you get one free or second half price. You must wear footwear at all times, even in your home. If a thumbtack or a rusty nail or a tin or a maca goes into this, is it going to go into my foot? Come on. No. Well, that's the point I'm making. You must wear slippers or sandals which are thick. So sometimes when I go home, I say, there's a thumbtack in here, or there's a rusty nail. It has not penetrated and gone into my foot. So I have to go once a year to my diabetic nurse, and she tells me to look away. Put your foot up. And she does that. And she said, did you feel it? I said, no, because she hasn't touched me. But she eventually uses her prong, and she touches all the parts of my foot to make sure the nerve endings are doing okay. It is important, and I'm going to teach my granny to suck eggs. When you have your shower or your bath, you must dry between your toes properly. Have I made that clear? You must never ever put lotion between the toes. And people ask me why. Because that's friction, the lotion, and that will cause you to start getting sores. What you can put between your toes is talcum powder. Never ever lotion. Then another thing you need to do. I have to buy these at Marks and Spencer's and Holland and Barrett. You see this part here? you must rub down the dry skin that is developing here. Because if there are any crevices or cracks or so on, and anything goes in between it, that is what will cause you to have issues and end up having your feet amputated. So be very mindful of that. Over here, mother just go down a Johnson River or down at the standpipe and just rub my foot so and get rid of the dry skin. In England, you have to buy the pumice stone to do that. So you're more fortunate over here in that regard. But please, and if it's an elderly person, please see to them that they have feet that you've looked after and wipe the feet properly and rub them down and so on. Are you with me? Because they won't be able to get down to that level. So you have to do it for them. These are practical tips I'm giving you, especially young people who seem to think that they are going to live forever and they're not going to be our age. They need to get real here, okay? Every week, there are 770 strokes, excuse me, from this medical condition. Every week again in Britain, there are 590 heart attacks and 2,300 cases of heart failure. Can you all read, excuse me, what's at the very bottom? Together? I'm going to put on my teaching hat. This is a big audience. That was read very, very weak and fenke. I want you to read it with gusto and feeling. Can you read it again, please? That is barely a C. No, not even a B minus. Anyway, the point being made here is go and get your eyes checked. There are people around who you notice start squinting at the television or at their friend or at the Kindle or the mobile phone, the cell phone they're using. It is the diabetes having its wicked way at the back of their eyes, and it's causing them to have blurred vision and to eventually go blind. I'm going to name you the 4 countries in the Commonwealth where blindness from diabetes is rampant. Dominica, where I've been, Belize, St. Lucia, and Jamaica. Those are the 4 top countries in the Commonwealth. If you don't believe me, go look it up. Me now dare I tell you no lie. No, Grenada isn't in the top 4. No. But those are the 4. And I'm saying to you loud and clear, if you go to your optician, and the optician noticed after they put in the drops, I have to go every year and they put the drops in, and they take a lot of pictures, because I don't wear glasses, but because I have type 2 diabetes, I have to have my eyes checked. It's called diabetes eye screening, not ice cream. Diabetes eye screening, or diabetic retinopathy. That's a big word, but I don't tend to use the word retinopathy because it goes over the heads of a lot of people. I just said diabetes eye screening. You must get your checks done. However, the optician cannot diagnose your diabetes. He or she can notice the dark spots at the back of your eyes, which is causing you to have the blurred vision. He or she will say to you, please go to your GP and get a proper blood test done. That is the definitive diagnosis that you have diabetes or you don't. And some people, I see them in the events when I do the 150 events per year in Britain. They say to me, Tony, you know, my optician, they tell me, say, I think something's at the back of my eye, and I look them in the eye and I say, what have you done about it? And they say, me not do nothing. Honest to God, I feel like slap them. Because if you get told that you're having blurred vision and there's something wrong with the back of your eyes, you are to go and get it checked. Look at this beautiful world. You want to go blind? Come on, that's the issue here. So if you notice any of your relatives, I'm begging you. So someone is diagnosed with diabetes. Every 2 minutes in the United Kingdom, somebody gets a diabetes diagnosis. So that's the issue. Now, my friend Orville Johnson from the Medical Foundation, or Franklin Johnson, my batchmate, might have won the lottery here in Britain, in Jamaica, and I tell you no. And they won £10 million or $10 million. That says, listen, That says 10 billion pounds is spent by the National Health Service on diabetes alone. There are some countries in the world which do not have this amount of money as their gross domestic product, some impoverished or poorer countries. And we are here spending so much money on diabetes alone. And Jamaica is going to go into that situation where their health budget is going to be swamped by having to deal with people with heart attacks and strokes and limb amputations and blindness. Are you with me? Prevention is better than? Right, okay. So moving swiftly on, we're now going to show you a 2-minute slide.
There are two main types of diabetes. Type 1 and type 2.
Two types,
They're
type 1,
different
type 2.
conditions, but they're both serious. There are some other rarer types of diabetes too. What all types of diabetes have in common is that they cause people to have too much glucose in their blood. But we all need some glucose. It's what gives us our energy. We get glucose when our bodies break down the carbohydrates that we eat or drink, and that glucose is released into our blood. We also need a hormone called insulin. It's made by our pancreas, and it's insulin that allows the glucose in our blood to enter our cells and fuel our bodies.
Yes.
If you don't have diabetes, your pancreas senses when glucose has entered your bloodstream and releases the right amount of insulin so the glucose can get into your cells. But if you have diabetes, this system doesn't work. When you've got type 1 diabetes, you can't make any insulin at all. If you've got type 2 diabetes, it's a bit different. The insulin you make either can't work effectively or you can't produce enough of it. In both types of diabetes, because glucose can't get into your cells, it begins to build up in your blood. And too much glucose in your blood causes a lot of different problems. To begin with, it leads to diabetes symptoms like having to wee a lot, being incredibly thirsty and feeling very tired. You may also lose weight, get infections like thrush, or suffer from slow healing wounds. Over a long period of time, high glucose levels in your blood can seriously damage your heart, your eyes, your feet, and your kidneys. These are known as the complications of diabetes. But with the right treatment and care, people can live a healthy life. And there's much less risk that someone will experience these complications. If you've got diabetes, you can find lots of information and support about living with it using our website and helpline. As well as campaigning for everyone with diabetes to get the right care, Diabetes UK fund research into all types of diabetes so we can develop new treatments and one day find a cure.
One day find a cure.
You can find out more about type 1 and type 2 diabetes and how they're treated in our next videos.
I'm not used to this heat. I'm sweating profusely. Somebody's gone to get some tissue for me. But that 2-minute video is on the Diabetes UK website. Show your classmates, your teacher friends, your colleagues, your workmates, your neighbors, your relatives. Diabetes UK made that 2-minute video. But I'm going to break it down for you. The guy who does that video is Philip Schofield. He used to present a morning television. He does not have type 2 diabetes. His mother has type 1. Philip Schofield has nothing. His mother has type 1. I'm going to mention 2 people who have type 1, apart from Philip Schofield's mother. Our former Prime Minister, Theresa May, has type 1 diabetes. The third person I'll mention to you is the well-known black American actress, Halle Berry. She has type 1. Now, I'm going to break it down for you so you, in simple terms, know what diabetes is. We have a 6-inch gland across here, every one of us. It is immediately behind the navel string or the belly button. It is 6 inches in length. It makes the hormone insulin. Without insulin, you will die. You cannot survive if you don't have insulin in your body. Now, with type 1, nothing to do with diet, nothing to do with age, nothing to do with gender, nothing to do with ethnicity or size. With type 1, the pancreas packs in, stops working altogether for no unknown reason. So only 8% of people have type 1. And that happens, the tired, the toilet, the thirsty, the sinner. Very quickly, you rush to the GP and they say, I'm afraid your pancreas has stopped working. For the rest of your life, you have to inject insulin into your stomach area. That's type 1. We give God thanks and praise. There was a man in Canada, Sir Frederick Banting, 104 years ago. He noticed, this is all true, you go look it up, a meager dog or marga dog outside. He and his American medical student, Charles Best, made up a concoction, injected it into the dog, and the dog started to put weight back on again. That was how insulin was discovered 104 years ago. And in commemoration of that, Sir Frederick Banting's birthday is the 14th of November, which is World Diabetes Day. Every year, the 14th of November is celebrated as World Diabetes Day. And one other person who happens to have a birthday on the 14th of November, our current King Charles, but he had nothing to do with diabetes, by the way. That's only in birthday. But Sir Frederick Banting, that's type 1. So for 3 times a day, they have to use an insulin pen and inject insulin to keep them alive. With type 2, some people, like in my case, it's hereditary, it runs in the family. I will never ever get rid of my type 2 diabetes, but I manage and control it. That's the difference, by eating things healthfully and by doing physical activity. Some people, because of the whole heap of weight around here, the pancreas is not doing its job properly, and therefore they then develop type 2 diabetes. Some skinny people, as I said earlier, also develop type 2. But the whole issue about, and some people with type 2 have to inject insulin into their stomach area. Some have to go on a well-known drug called metformin. Some people manage, not all, a few people manage to reverse the diabetes by eating very healthily and by also doing a lot of physical activity. If they go back to eating unhealthily and stop doing the physical activity, the diabetes is going to what? Exactly, it's going to come back, return. So, what we eat and the amount of physical activity we do will determine how well we either control the diabetes we have or not get it in the first place. And I'm going to do some stuff with you in terms of, I don't want you to be leading the sedentary couch potato lifestyle. You've got to get off your backside and you've got to do physical activity. Pure and simple. I don't care how old you is. I'm going to do some which you can do right at your seat. Okay? So, go over and visit that website, Diabetes UK. So, age is a factor, the older you get, and these young people who seem to think they're immortal, invisible, and nothing will go happen to them, trust me, diabetes will start coming their way from the turn 20, 21, 22, because of all the junk food they're eating and they're not doing the physical activity. As I said in my day, it was only old people who had this condition. Now the teens are getting it. Don't you know teens having diabetes now? Type 2. Yes or no? Yes, okay. Family history, ethnicity, weight is a factor, waist circumference. These are the issues. Some men, trust me, some men trying to make love to their partner because there's too much blood glucose or blood sugar in the penis, you're all adults, the penis cannot remain erect. It keeps flopping. That is because, thanks very much, that's because of the amount of blood glucose or blood sugar in their system. It's called erectile dysfunction. Now, I make sure I source this because I don't want them to say how come Tony Kelly know that. Sexual problems are more common in women with diabetes than in men. That's on page 58 of your guide to diabetes from Diabetes UK. I mentioned earlier heart attacks, strokes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. I'm going to give you 2 tips for high cholesterol. Have your oats porridge of a morning. I'm not talking the refined Fosca and Quaker oats. I am talking the thick rolled jumbo oats, which is available in supermarkets in this country. That is the oats you should be eating, because my mother said to me, keeping your cholesterol levels down, have your oats porridge. And some people take the thick rolled jumbo oats home and put it in the blender. What's the purpose of that? Come on, you must have it when it's a thick rolled jumbo oat. And another thing to keep your cholesterol levels down is celery. Either in your soups your broths or eaten raw, celery is a good source of keeping your cholesterol levels down. And before I forget, when I'm finished, I've left on the wall there, you'll see 2 sets of photographs on the wall. You are to take your photo, your camera, and take pictures of most of those things on that wall are things grown in Jamaica. Cinnamon and nutmeg and this and that and the other, and the benefits of them. Some people will have to be on drugs, don't get me wrong, and proper pharmaceutical drugs, but a lot of stuff. When I was growing up, I may have a headache, a toothache, or a belly ache. My grandmother sent me outside to go get that bush, that bush. And when she done rub me up, me back at school the next day. So I am not going to stand here and poo-poo and say you mustn't be on any herbal remedies and so on. Go over there and take pictures of those and start using some of those to try and get you back into a good mood. So, gestational diabetes. There's some professionals in here, and I am going to ask, what is gestational diabetes? Come on. Sorry? During pregnancy. What? Aren't there doctors in here and nurses and so on? I'll take these all back to where I'm coming from if you don't know answer the question, you know. Right. I bought a lot of stuff for all of the events I'm doing. I'm doing 3 for the Ministry of Health, but I'm doing others at Bethel Baptist Church. I'm doing one in Harborview. I'm doing one in Spanish Town. You need to tell your friends and relatives to come out and listen to me. We can't come up from England all the way here to speak to 3 or 4 people. At least there's a nice sized crowd here. But gestational diabetes is when the person is pregnant. Only during the pregnancy. Those of you who are new to this, once the baby or babies have been born, that mother is at future risk of developing type 2 diabetes, and her children are also at future risk of developing type 2 diabetes. What is impaired glucose regulation? Some doctors back in England like to use these big words to make you know, so they've been to Cambridge and Oxford and Durham University. And my take is you need to speak the language of the people. And I'm asking you now, what is impaired glucose regulation? If you're going to your doctor's surgery and him said that to you, what do you think he or she is saying to you? Sorry? Lack of glucose? Lacking in glucose? Well, I'm going to tell you what it means. If your doctor says to you, you are borderline diabetes or pre-diabetes, the prefix pre means before, you haven't got it yet, say thank God for Jesus and make the lifestyle changes if you're told you're borderline or pre-diabetes. So because once you get into the diabetes, try and get rid of it. As I said, a few people are able to, but most people, I'm afraid, don't. So I said to doctors, don't use big words like impaired glucose regulation when you're out there in the community speaking to people. Speak the language of the people that they will understand. Are you with me? So that means pre-diabetes or borderline. Now I'm going to tell you quickly, steroid-induced diabetes. I have 2 friends in England, and they both had to have a kidney transplant. I was under the impression that if this man is going to give me as a kidney donor one of his kidneys, I thought they would take out the dead kidney, the affected kidney from me. No, they don't. The 2 kidneys you were born with, even if they're bad, remain inside of you, and the kidney donor's new kidney is attached to that kidney. That's a fact, okay? And because of that, it is a foreign body, alien. You have to, for the rest of your life, go on anti-rejection tablets so that it doesn't reject the kidney that I've had. Now, some people have steroids, mild steroids for asthma, bronchitis, and so on, or you have a cough or flu and they give you steroids to get rid of it. I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem when I go to the gym, because I do Zumba, Pilates, acrobics, swimming, yoga, and I go to the gym and I will see somebody at the gym my size. Fast forward 3 weeks time, the Incredible Hulk, the muscles up here, sir, and down here, sir, and I go up to them and say, excuse me, what you think you're doing? And they say, are you a doctor? I said, no. But I am telling you, you are injecting steroids into here and into here. If you have any uncle, aunt, nephew, niece, cousin, brother, may I beg you to tell them to stop it. Don't do it, because they will eventually get steroid-induced diabetes. And once they have that for the rest of their life. Are you with me? Are you understanding me? Right, so that's that one on that. Let's moving swiftly on. Look who get diabetes the most. People from African, Caribbean, and South Asian backgrounds, 2 to 4 times more likely to develop diabetes than white people. None of these facts that I'm giving you are from me. They come from the National Health Service or Diabetes UK. We start getting diabetes from age 25. And white people start getting diabetes 15 years later at age 40. And that's to do with our DNA, our genetics, our genes, our metabolism, but also to do sometimes with environmental factors like overcrowding. Now, I'm going to give you a very, very clear one. Stress. Stress causes blood glucose and blood sugar levels to rise. And a woman said to me 6 months ago, Tony, you know, you're right. Her husband died suddenly. And she was very, bereaving and what have you, taking the death of her husband. And she felt unwell. And she went to the doctor, and the doctor said, you now have diabetes. And you know what caused it? The stress caused the blood glucose and the blood levels to rise inside of her and cause her to get diabetes. Are you stopping me?
Just 1 second. Can you do 24, 21, 24, 25, and 26 to go to the bus?
Could 21, 24, 25, and 26. Would you mind going to the bus, please, while I continue? Thank you. So, let me give away something. Just randomly. Bear with me. Sorry if I can find it. I'm just going to throw it in the air. Whoever catches it, catches it. What I want people to do is invest in a stress ball. So when you're caught up in all that traffic, what I see since I come here, and you're not moving any further, you get a squeezy ball, you get a stress ball, and you keep squeezing it. You are reducing your stress levels. Also, take deep breaths. That reduces your stress levels. And also, if you're a Christian, say your prayers, okay? And also go for walks. But do things to bring your stress levels down. And also, I don't know if you get them over here, but in England, I buy them by the roll. Poppers. It works. Believe you me, it works. You're sitting down there and you're stressed like what? Just get these and pop them. It reduces your stress levels. It works. Doctors have explained to me. Try and get them. Am I right or wrong? Mr. Morrison? All right. So that's another way of but what I'm wanting you to do is bring your stress levels down in order to control not getting diabetes. We in Britain, we suffer racism, and then the black women suffer racism and sexism. And I'm saying walk away from these confrontations and these situations, count to 10, and try and bring your stress levels down. And also, poor diet. I'm going to come on to that in a minute, but this is the one I'm going to talk about now. Couch potato or sedentary lifestyle, where people sit down for most of the day doing absolutely nothing. Let me start with number one. You remember the days, the older one of us here, where the only television station was JBC? Yeah. And you had the grainy rice grain thing and you wait for it to come on? Now everybody is beep, 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 beep. You know what you do for me, and I'm deadly serious. Hide the remote control, or put dead batteries in it, or take out the batteries. And within an hour, I am being serious, within an hour, if you have to get off your proverbial and go over and turn on the television, turn it off, or turn the channel, you have done some physical activity. You have allowed the heart to get the blood around the body and get you moving. Are you with me? Another one I want you to do Alexa, Siri, turn off the light. Alexa, Siri, open the curtain. Alexa, Siri, turn on the radio. Were you born with an Alexa and a Siri? Come on. It's about movement, people. Movement. I want you to move more. That's why the term is called Jamaica Moves. You need to get off your proverbial and go out there and move. Another thing you do for me is, every time I come here, I go up to Hermitage Dam and I walk early hours of the morning up there walking with other people. Anybody here born in a motor car? So what the difference you're going half a mile down the road and you're going in the motor car for? Please, walk, and more walk. And when you go to the supermarket, you're going onto the travelator or the lift, and the stairs is right next to the travelator or the lift. Your feet were made for walking, and that God gave you your feet for. If I had my way, I know the people who have mobility issues, but I would not be allowing the idea of having travelators and lifts and so on in supermarkets. Then, most people, they're so lazy, they park the car right at the entrance of the supermarket instead of way down yonder so they can get more physical activity. Those are key things you need to be doing. You can form a walking club. So here are 4 people in a walking club. And this woman calls on her friend as an example. I'm not saying that is the case with you. And her friend start make excuse, say she's tired and the weather too hot out there. But she's very assertive and she said, no, we have to pick up more people on the walk. Then we go to this one and she's very, very into punctuality. Has this thing moved from me? Are you hearing me? And we say, what took you so long? And we tell her the story about this one. Then we pick on this gentleman and say, me this sprain, me ankle, I think me can go walk today, And we convince him to come. And all 8 of you find hills. Jamaica have whole heap of hills and gradients. So you don't have to walk on flat surfaces. Some of you, the faster walkers, will go further up, quicker, while you wait on the slow walkers to catch up. You talk about your family, your grandchildren, President 45, you talk about this, that, and the other. You do that twice a week, you suddenly see the weight dripping off you as you get used to it. Now, when I grew up in Jamaica, my grandmother said to me, "Me not sending you to river or beach or go catch crab because your mother sent me to look after you and you will drown." So I have never learned to swim. Until I went back to England a couple of years ago, I thought, no, this is crazy. And now I am a competent swimmer. And they have this issue in England. Black people can't swim, they will sink. Where them get them the foolishness from? Linford Christie can't swim and Tony Kelly can't swim. And as for the women who like to say to me, as for the women who like to say to me, Tony, the chlorine, it'll go affect me here. One day, you might end up saving your child's life. Go learn to swim. Have you heard that loud and clear? It is never too late for a shower of rain, okay? Moving swiftly on. I could spend all day just doing physical activity with you. What I want to do with you is this one. I don't expect you to be Arnold Schwarzenegger with the dumbbells, but get plastic bottles, not glass bottles, plastic bottles with water, and you're going to sit down while you're watching TV to Bob Marley or Calypso or Bango, and all you're doing is this. And then eventually you take it up there. And then you start getting bigger bottles with more weight, and you take it up there and up there. You're building up your biceps and you're doing physical activity right in the comfort of your home, burning up the calories. Are you with me? Then you do the feet as well. Because you know what, down you're so maga like up here so looking so lovely. Are you with me? And then the elderly people, you plunk them down all day to sit down there on the settee or the lounge or so on. Ever so often, you get them up, one on this side, one on that side, and you say, "Come on, Granny, come on, Granddad," and you lift them up and you put them down, and you lift them up and you put them down. You have to be doing physical activity. Then let me start onto mango now. We're into mango season, which is why I decided to come in May, I used to sing with the Jamaica folk singers. Me no drink coffee, tea, mango time. Care how nice it may be, mango time. At the height of the mango crop, when the fruit them are ripe and drop, wash your pot, turn them down, mango time. And you see the people them with the bowl of mango, 10, 15 mango. You cannot be eating so much mango. Mango is natural sugar, it's fructose. You will pile on calories, you will pile on pounds. Unless, like me, who eat a lot of mango, I go for my walks, I make warm up, I make do this, I make do that also. But most people think, oh, it's fruit, I'll be fine. No, turpentine, large and fine mango time, rubbing mango, so sweet mango time. At the height of the mango crop, when the fruit them are ripe and drop, wash your pot. You cannot be doing that. Am I making sense? It is fruit, but it is still very sugar, and you know some of them are very sweet. Moving swiftly on, because I'm conscious of time. That you're gonna get the actual Eat Well guide. The portions of food we as African Caribbean people should be eating in terms of the yellow and the green is the largest portion, which is mainly fruits and vegetables. The carbohydrates next, and then you have your meats and your fishes, and that little bit there with the milks and the cheese and so on. This is here, and those who don't manage to get it, it is online, the African Caribbean Eat Well Guide. Moving swiftly on, I'm not going to do that one, but I'm going to do this one. Some of you might remember the Miss Jamaica or Miss World competition, where the perfect figure walking down the catwalk back in the day was 36-inch bust, 24-inch waist, and a 36-inch hip. Any woman here with a 24-inch waist, proudly stand up and show us. Anybody? Right. Well, I am telling you loud and clear, as of now, it doesn't say from the trouser size. Diabetes UK say all women should try, some won't be able to get there, to aim for a measurement. Where is my thing? And at this stage, me tell you, seminar on dopey. Those of you who know that. All women should aim for a measurement of 31.5 inches from the belly button. Let's say the woman's size is 44. She realistically ain't gonna come down to 31.5, but try and get rid of some of the fat and bring down the 44 to 42 or 40. Get rid of some of the belly fat so that the pancreas, which is situated here, can do its job more effectively. Is that making sense? Asian men, because more of them are in the top 10, Asian men should aim for a measurement from the belly button of 35 inches. Anything over 35, the pancreas is not getting to do its job properly. So sometimes I go to some communities back in Britain, and the Asian man will come up to me and him say, Tony, may I watch my belly? That's why it's out here, so. I may say, excuse me? You better haul that belly in. You are carrying way too much weight, and it is not good for you. Black men and white men should aim for a measurement, black men and white men, of 37 inches. So when you go home, you measure your husband or your partner or your brother or your uncle or your son and see if they're in. And remember, not the trouser size, not down here, so from the belly button or navel string. Have I made that clear? Right, okay? Then this is a bit about thin people. Tofu, thin on the outside, fat on the inside, whereby the person is slim, but the fat is around the liver and around the pancreas. So don't dispute them if they tell you that they actually have diabetes. Going to the toilet a lot, the teeth, tired, toilet thirsty, thinner. Thrush and genital itching in the private parts, slow healing of cuts and wounds, blurred vision, extreme tiredness, and weight loss. Can you all read the bottom, please? Can you all? And this is where I have a problem with a lot of young people. Don't think that this is for them. So they don't register with a GP. They don't go and see a GP yearly. You have to go and get your yearly checkups. It is most important because sometimes no symptoms at all. No tired, no toilet, no thirsty, no thinner, no blurred vision. And the diabetes is having its wicked way inside of you, and you are none the wiser. Is that making sense? So the importance of your health checkups is so, okay? Moving swiftly on. Risk factors: eye disease, heart disease, kidney disease, and nerve disease. And nerve disease is not just the feet. It can be your hands as well. So please remember that, okay? Some people go to the Diabetes UK website and put in the Know Your Risk tool, which works out for them what risk they have of getting diabetes. If you have it already, you can't do this. But if you want to find out low risk or medium risk, or if it comes into the high risk, then you refer to the National Diabetes Prevention Program. So you have to put in your age, your height, your weight, all the things it asks you for, and then it will calculate. And in England, you put your postcode and it directs you. If you're in the high or medium risk, it puts you to go and get some one-to-one or in a group. Not really one-to-one, but in a group, either online or with others. Eat a healthy, balanced diet, be more active, and stop smoking. I'm not going to discuss all of these with you, but I'm going to pick out two. I have the sickle cell trait. I'll say it again. I have the sickle cell trait. My wife does not have the sickle cell trait. If she had the sickle cell trait, our daughter would have been born with full-blown sickle cell anemia. And the sickle is C-shaped or like a crescent, like a moon. And some people go into crisis when the blood is trying to go around the body and it's not the proper round shape. That's the sickle cell crisis that they go to. So I cannot do the standard 3-month HbA1c. And if you have the sickle cell trait, sickle cell anemia, or thalassemia, you cannot do the standard HbA1c. You have to do one called fructosamine, which can only tell the clinic what you've ate or drank for the last 2 weeks. That's the difference between it and the 3-month one, which is HbA1c. And on the vial, they have to put a yellow cap to differentiate it from the HbA1c 3-month, which is a red cap. So you need to make note of that if that is the case with you. I'll do pernicious anemia. A few years ago, I was feeling very tired, and therefore I went to see my GP, and the GP said, I have pernicious anemia. I said, what the hell is that? He says, you're not eating certain things. You're going to have to look them up. So I went home. There are a lot of doctors and nurses in my family, and I went home. I was lacking in vitamin B12. The only place you can get vitamin B12 is from animals. Remember that. So people who are vegan and vegetarian and don't eat meat, they have to subsidize their meat by taking B12 tablets. So I said, doctor, how are we going to rectify this? He said to me that you will, for the rest of your life, this is true, have to have a B12 injection. I said, really? I went home and I looked at the Pernicious Anemia Society website. I started to take this. Is it in Jamaica? Fluoridex. Preservatives, no coloring, no lactose, vitamin B2, B6, B12. My wife prefers Metatone tonic. I take this daily, and my B12 shot up to the normal range. I went back to see the doctor, and the doctor said, it's been fine. And I looked the doctor in the eye and said, so where the dickens you did want joke me in my bottom every 3 months for the rest of my life for? Pure and simple. And the pure white man not understand a word to this day what I said to him. But that was his issue, okay? But what I'm saying to you people is, you need to open your mouth and talk. And even me, who can talk for Britain, don't go and see my doctor on my own. First of all, we have about 8 in the surgery. I don't wear these because these give the game away. I wear neutral colors. And when one doctor said to me, oh, you're type 2 diabetes, I'm going to prescribe metformin. I said, who tell you that? Who is going to take that? He said, me. I said, you don't know who I am, do you? He said, no. And when we start talking, he said, oh, and realized I'm talking to the wrong person because I wasn't taking no metformin. There was no need for me to take it. So this is what I'm saying to you. Some people have to be on medication, but some people do not have to be on medication. And you have to make the decision and make them enable and empower the patient to make the lifestyle changes. Are you with me? Are you with me? Okay? Medication should be a last resort, is what I'm saying. Kidney stones I've had, and I'll just tell you briefly. This was some years ago, and I woke up with a pain in one side, and my wife said, what side hurting you? And I told her, and I said, my appendix has burst. She was a primary school teacher. She said, don't be so silly. The appendix is not on that side, it's on the other side. And I said, well, I'm in pain, and I don't know. This is the equivalent of a man giving birth to a child. Was admitted to the hospital for 2 days. I passed out the kidney stones. On the way, the doctor said, tell me about your diet. I was so proud to tell the doctor, I love cow's milk with the more fat and cream on the top. He said, you know what you do for me? Go into your communities and tell them, black people or white people, at our stage of life, don't need to have cow's milk. Plant-based milk, I'm going to name them. Coconut milk, rice milk, almond milk, cashew milk, and oat milk. All plant-based milk. Some of them taste bad like well, but eventually it becomes an acquired taste. Those are the milks you should go for. Now some people will shout out, what about soya milk? Mass-produced soya attracts a lot of pests. So they spray the pests and it can end up going into the food chain and become carcinogenic or cancerous. So I would say if you're going to get soya milk, go for organic soya milk, which is not mass-produced. It is produced without all of the pesticides and so on it. Are you with me? Okay. All of these plant-based milk are more expensive than normal cow's milk, but in the long run, they're better for your body. Are you with me? Okay? Eat a healthy, balanced diet. Why do those people there, look on the screen, get diabetes more than anybody else? Think. Huh? Come on. Exactly, they're sitting down all day. I don't know if this will fit you, but I'm giving it to you anyway. You might be able to give it to your niece or nephew or one of your grand. It might fit you. Yep. They are sitting down for most of the day. And when they go home, the TV watching them more than them watching the TV because they fall asleep and then go up to bed and the routine continues like that. Then on the other hand, which country after China was next in line in terms of people with diabetes? India. Why do those people in India, why they don't get diabetes? Think. Come on. Sorry? Huh? Spicy food? No. Well done. What they do, and this is exactly what you need to do, they're sitting down for most of the day, you know. But think of a tailor and the singer sewing machine. So this is moving up and down and getting physical. And then the seamstress, and they're moving the thing, go this way and that way and so on. They do not get diabetes. Tailors, seamstresses, and dressmakers in India, although they are second on the list of people, the country itself. But because of the whole heap of movement up and down, they are getting some physical activity. Is that making sense? Right, okay. Moving swiftly on. Take your medication, social prescribing, I'll leave out, control your blood glucose levels. Oral hygiene is an issue for diabetes, and it's not talked about a lot. People with diabetes have way more problems with their gum and with their teeth and their bad breath and so on because of the whole heap of blood glucose, blood sugar, saliva that is formed in the mouth. So oral hygiene and going to the dentist for regular checkups is so important for people with diabetes. Take a picture of that if you want, please. Brush your teeth twice daily and make sure you get your dental checkups done. Okay? Is that clear? Right, moving swiftly on. Food and traffic light signals. It's on this as well. I don't think Jamaica has reached a stage yet where you have the, in Britain, all foods in the supermarkets and stores have greens and reds and ambers on them, just like the just like the traffic light. So you know if you're at the red, that is danger, you have to stop. So red here is high in sugar and high in saturates and high in oils, etc. So it's only now and again you must get a roly-poly or an ice cream or an apple crumble. You need to go for more greens, which ends up being less sugar, less salt, less fat, this, that, and the other when you go shopping. Is that making sense? And you can get some ambers in between, but of course, stay away from the reds as much as possible. That happens in England a lot. My good friend Dr. Gumbele, he's a diabetes expert over here. He swears by fruit smoothies, or if not fruit smoothies, vegetable smoothies. I am going to go a different route and tell you that you must have less smoothies. And I'm going to show you what you need to do. When you have a smoothie, your mouth is made to chew the apple, the ripe banana, the naseberry, the vegetable, into a ball. The Latin word is bolus, B-O-L-U-S, ball. You chew the food, you masticate it, you chew it. The saliva's in here, do what they're supposed to do. They go down in here, the peptic acids and the amino acids do what they're supposed to do, and it goes all around the body. That's the normal process. When you have a smoothie, whether it's vegetable or fruit, I demonstrate. That's exactly what happens with a smoothie. So, first of all, the smoothies in the supermarkets are packed with what? Sugar. Packed with sugar. So avoid those. Only have a smoothie now and again, and go instead for eating the thing, the melon, the papaya, the orange, the grape, the this, the normal way. Are you with me? Did we have blender and all them sort of something years gone by? All these modern inventions that people are then going for now. Those are some of the reasons we're not eating food the way how we should eat it. So try and avoid smoothies if you can. I want you to spend 1 minute looking at the benefits of water. As a society, we do not drink enough water. I am wanting you to drink more. I drink 2 liters of water every day. 2 liters of water every day, because the aim of the kidneys is to flush out the toxins and poisons and impurities from the body, and your urine should be a nice, light, pale yellow color. If your urine is dark, it means you are dehydrated. And if it has a stench, it also means you are dehydrated. You are to drink more water. And over here, you can get coconut water. Me have to buy the Grace coconut water. And it is so expensive. But you can get the Papa water, jelly coconut. You need to go for more water. And some people say, Tony, me can't drink so much water. There's water in grapes, melon, apple, oranges, satsumas, mangoes. Those can be part of your water consumption. But at the same time, I not expect you to eat 10, 15 mango a day. Are you with me? That is way too many mango, unless you're doing the Pilates, the yoga, the acrobics, the swimming, the running, the so on. You know, I used to run at the National Stadium when I was at Martin Bay High School, Happy Grove High School, Mico Teachers College, and I still do my fair bit of running and fast walking. But those are the things, the benefits of having water. Remember, most of our body is made up of blood. So we need to have water inside of you, so that you know, it really keeps you hydrated as opposed to dehydrated. Flushes away bacteria, normalizes blood pressure the more water you drink. These aren't mine, by the way, you know. These come from the NHS or Diabetes UK. That's a charity, and I'm going to ask you to go to the cultural myths for me, sir. That you could go to. Don't ask any questions yet, but this is a Diabetes UK charity, which we have in England, which when I go to Asian communities, I tell them in the Asian communities, ring that number, and the Punjabi, the Urdu, the Arabic, the Gujarati, the Hindu speaker can call you back. They can get somebody and discuss with you your issues with diabetes. Can you then bring up for me the cultural myths? I don't think I'm going to do the quiz, but I'll do the cultural myths and then end, please. Are you understanding, Mr. Farr? Is it making sense? Are you going to put into practice what you've got them up for me already? That's good. Cultural myths and misconceptions. These are myths that we as people, African, Caribbean, and Asian people, have out there and which we need to dispel. The first one is Karela. The Asian community use bitter melon and bitter gourd a lot in their dishes, and they swear blind that that is going to cure their diabetes. No, it's not. It is similar for some people on medication. You know, when some people are on medication for blood thinning and they are told they must not have grapefruit or grapefruit juice. That applies to some people who have issues with diabetes and are on medication and still taking the Karela. In our community, aloe vera. We have aloe vera, we have tuna, we have Cinco Bible. Those have been done from the year. They are herbal remedies. I'm not going to stand here and poo-poo herbal remedies. They have their place in society, just like the pharmaceutical drugs do. But you need to be mindful of what you're on and making sure. And that is why you're going to go across here and take pictures and start putting some of those into your thing. Now, this is the next one. Hands up. Diabetes is a touch of sugar. Hands up. Thank God for that. Because sometimes I do this event and people hands up. I'm going to say, my diabetes up my mouth for an hour. And you come sit down here and tell me diabetes is not. Remember I said in the 50s and 60s, that is what my relatives and the people in White House, St. Thomas used to say. Oh, it's only a touch of sugar. They minimize it, trivialize it, downplayed it. It is a very, very serious medical condition. And I would rather, if you're having sugar, forget white sugar. Me like white people. But white sugar, white flour, white bread is a no-no. You must have a little brown sugar and also go for brown rice. The three rices you should eat more are brown rice, wild rice, and basmati rice, white or brown. That is on the Diabetes UK website. The other rices, they in terms of their ingestion and going in the system, too fast. Brown rice, wild rice, basmati rice, white or brown. But go for brown sugar, small quantities, and also go for honey. I mean, not talking the honey, when you pour it so, it just rip out so like that. It has to be thick honey. That is the real McCoy honey. Are you with me? Right. And big is beautiful. I go to some communities, I'm not going to tell you what they are, and you see the man in marga like what, and him walking down the avenue or the lane, and next to him is his princess or his duchess or his queen, and she's 6 times his size, and he said, yes, me conquer, look for my woman next to me, and them is marga as ever the man. That is a recipe for disaster. They actually feed up their women folk, to be that size. She's going to get diabetes fairly soon. So them to stop it. And they say, Tony, but that is part of my culture. That's what we used to. Me say, well, if you want diabetes, keep on doing that. Okay? Is it an old person's condition now? It used to be back in the 60s and 70s, but now the kids on their way home from school, they're eating the pizza, they're eating the donuts, they're eating the this, the that, and whatever mom and dad prepared for them at home. By the time they get home, they're hungry. A lot of them now are developing diabetes much quicker than they should. Now look at that man. This is a myth that's out there. A big belly is a sign of a happy marriage. If him did marga, the community would say, the wife now feed her husband properly. That is what the community say. So they overfeed him. That man is about to have triplets. Look on his size and belly. Let me see how much you are paying attention. What size should all women aim for from the belly button? 31. Not 31, 31 and a half. What size should Asian men aim for? 35. And what size should all black men and white men aim for? 37. Put that in there and then take the tape measure home and then make sure you ask whoever measure them and so on. Let me see, we have more goodie bags in here. Right. So, they need to work on that. Some communities have issues where they have all of those things in the larder. The donut and the pancake and the this and the cream cake. And you notice the one dege strawberry. I would rather see in the larder strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, grapes and satsumas and oranges and naseberries, more than all of that stuff. That is 3 times a year. I was in Canada doing an event. I won't tell you for what community. And when they finish, they come out with all of the fried this, fried that, and sweet this and sweet that. I say, excuse me? Where are the fruits? Where are the vegetables? Oh, this is what we eat in our culture. I'm so sorry, but none of what you put on out there, sir. You need to provide for people who want to have the alternative. If others want, it's like when we go to some of the funerals. And when we finish at the funeral and we go to the hall, we done the grave, you know. And the first thing they mention at most black funerals I go to in England, will the people who have diabetes please go to the front of the queue? And 90% of the people run gone at the front of the queue because they're hungry. Why are they singling out one condition that people might have another medical condition, which means they need to eat? So I have to be saying to English people and black people in England, stop saying people with diabetes must go to the front of the queue. It don't look right. Just say people with a medical condition. You get me? And then people say, Tony, but you have diabetes. How come you're not going at the front of the queue? The rest of them hungry like her because they've been there all day. So, the Holy Bible or the Quran, that's another myth out there, that the Holy Bible or the Quran say that you're going to get diabetes. Just accept it. There is nowhere in the Holy Bible or the Quran does it say that. So don't give me that. It's another cultural myth that we have to get rid of. What's all the big deal? It's just a mild condition. Everybody have it. But you're not making a big fuss about this condition. You agree with that? There's still people out there who think that that is so. And we have to dispel that myth out there in communities, okay? If you have diabetes, you can't find a husband or you can't find a wife, you can't have children. My stepmother in Canada, Hamilton, up the mountain in Canada, she had type 1 diabetes. It was very hard for my father to conceive with her, but eventually I have a half-sister named Julie who lives in Canada. It is harder, but this myth about, you won't be able to have children and so on, rubbish. In the Muslim community, Ramadan, if you prick your finger during the month of Ramadan, you have broken the fast. That is a myth that is out there in communities. And we have to try to dispel that myth, that there's nothing wrong with pricking your finger to test your blood glucose levels, okay? And I think I'm going to end there. I had another set aside for the quiz. Come to one of my other events and we do them at that. And that's the end. Thank you very much for listening. It's falling out.
Now speak again?
No, I don't think I'm going to speak again. I think he's going to give the vote of thanks. I'll just leave it, yeah.
Sorry.
Huh? Sorry?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have had a full diet on a Sunday afternoon. Isn't it good? Wasn't it good? All right. No, I hear Kelly say some things a while ago in the latter part there, and it's true. Because if you have a husband or a wife with diabetes, the diabetes does not flow into anything that creates pregnancy. Are you with me? I think I heard Kelly saying that. Isn't that so, Kelly? If you have diabetes, the wife or the husband, the diabetes does not flow into anything that produces children. In other words, the diabetes is not in the sperm. Exactly. I thought I was hearing right. Okay, clarification. Any questions for Kelly? Or you're all full? You're all full? All right, give it up again for him. All right, all right. He has some literature for you there. Right, he's saying come and get the brochures, and the information is on the website. And after this, those who have not yet done their screening, please go to the back because the mobile unit is already gone. So you finish your screening at the back of the room, and please speak to Kelly and get your dessert after that diet, okay? Because some of what he spoke of is why my good friend Oliver is 94. Are you with me now? That's the reason, and that's where I am going, right, Oliver? All right. So ladies and gentlemen, to do the vote of thanks, don't move yet, hello, don't move yet. To do the vote of thanks, we'll call another member of JMF, Ellie Ferguson. Welcome him, ladies and gentlemen. The day is not yet done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's not usually a pleasure for me to move vote of thanks, but this time it's an extreme pleasure. I'm sure you will agree with me that the man from all the way in England has done a very brilliant presentation. In fact, he has given us a mouthful, even though he instructed that I should limit my rice and peas in one hand. Boy, I told him I don't know how I'm going to do that. But if that is the instruction, I will follow it. Tony, I'm thankful for you to remind us of the 4 T's, and that diabetes is not a touch of sugar. It is diabetes. And we have one of the 4 T's, I won't name them, we should get ourselves checked out so that we can take the appropriate measures of treatment. One more round of applause for Tony, please. Then I want to thank the audience who have so graciously listened and participated, particularly those who have traveled from far. I wouldn't be able to name them, but let us give each of us a round of applause. I want to be thankful also to Mico College for having provided us with these facilities. Let's give them a round of applause. Very comfortable. And Guardian Life for having sponsored. I want to give a big round so that they can sponsor again. So let them hear you. And Carimed cannot be outdone, because Carimed nourished me just now when they saw that my energy level was going down. Let's hear it for Carimed. I will always follow Carimed around the place. Them glues here not taste nice. And Tony, it's not so sweet again, you know. So forgive me if I had a little bit of it earlier on. But I'm going to do some of the exercise. Ministry of Health, can we hear from Ministry of Health, and by extension, National Health Fund? I understand the testing is still going on. I haven't done my test yet, but I'm gearing up to go. I want to also thank the committee, the very hard-working committee. Even though few, but we put in some sleepless nights and hours. Let me see the committee member just stand so we can recognize them. So I'm already standing. Boy, give them a round of applause, man. They deserve it. Chairman Harville and committee, well done. And lastly, I think it would be remiss of me if I should not thank the caterers who provided those wonderful refreshments. So let's give them a round of applause round back there. It's one of my tutors tell me, say, God bless the cook no matter how she look. But Tony says not she, no, it's him. So Tony, I too am going back to do some cooking. Finally, I think I must thank myself, because I don't think anybody else will do so. So thank you, Ellie Ferguson, and thanks to our chairman. Thank you all very much. Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's only left for me to say one thing. May the words of our mouth and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable in thy sight. Be doers of the word and not only hearers of the word. Thank you very much for being here, and have a God-blessed afternoon and evening. Stay healthy, because health is wealth. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. There are some food items at the back. Don't leave without taking them. CariMed and NHF and at the back, and complete your screening. I just learned something about myself.